Hey guys, Chris Fate with Cheat the Game coming back at you. Today we're going to be taking a look at a continuation of a lesson that we've had in the past from the LUA auto writing that we did, in which case we learned what, writeInteger, writeFloat, and how to use that by creating a timer and setting a function to that timer to write continuously to our particular address. Well, today we're going to take that like a step further, and what we're going to do today is learn what readInteger, readFloat, and all that, what that means, and how we can use that. And we can use that to actually write our cap values to our current values. And today we're going to be taking a look at ammunition. We're going to take a look at the ammunition's current value as it goes down, and we're also going to take a look at its cap value. And what we're going to do, when you see that the reason we're doing it this way is the particular game that we're using basically has one of those sections where every single code in game's memory seems to be going through one opcode, and seems to be writing through that opcode and being accessed through just those certain opcodes. Now, yeah, I know we could probably go back trace it to a source and things like that, but why do all that work when you can find something that works just as easy and gives you what you want? And we're going to do multi-level pointers, and we're going to write a LUA script. We're going to set a timer to that particular value. We're going to have it read our cap, and we're going to have that cap write to our current. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And we can also use that readFloat or readInteger or whatever it happens to be reading. We can also use that to set values back to normal when we turn the cheat off. When it destroys the timer, we turn the cheat off and it sets values back to normal. And we're going to do that with our rapid fire. We found rapid fire in this game, and we want to turn on the rapid fire by setting the constant value to a -1. However, when we turn off that value, or excuse me, that cheat, we want it to return it to its normal number, which is, I think, is like a 0.25 or something like that, and we want it to turn back so it doesn't have rapid fire anymore. We use the same type function for that. So I'm kind of doing this a really basic way, and there are better ways to do this. And know if you're experienced program, you know that, but right now on this channel we're just getting our feet wet with it and everything, and we're just doing very basic forms of it, and then we can build onto it later. So I'll be right back once I bring everything up. Okay, thanks for holding, guys. I want to throw a couple of quick shout outs, if I may, right here. I want to thank Taken5, who is also a donator. We were working on this together, and she did some things, I did some things, and she was asking me what was the best way to go about this, having all these different opcodes go through one particular all these addresses going through one particular opcode. And then pointers are definitely the best way to go in that regard. If you can find some pointers, then you can use LUA to do the same type things you can write in assembly. And so we were working on that together, and we figured out how to do some of these things together. So I want to thank her right quick. Thank you, Taken5. We kind of learned this together, and it's because of you that this video now exists. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to thank, and I know I'll butcher his name, Agul. He made a very generous donation to Cheat the Game. I want to thank all my donators, partners over at the Patreon, as well as the PayPal donators. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys are what's keeping Cheat the Game going. Also, if you would like to be one, they have exclusive content that they have access to, and you too can have that. This month I zipped up my cheat table in the all my cheat tables in documents. When you go to my cheat tables, I zipped that whole folder up for Cheat the Game. Every single cheat table that I have, I went ahead and allowed them access to every single one of them. Everything that you see in these video tuts is in here, as well as things that you have not seen are in here. So I've allowed them access. If you too would like to have that, it's only $1 a month. We'd love to have you. You can opt out at any time, and you just keep whatever is available during that time that you are with us, and we'd really appreciate it. It really helps Cheat the Game continue to run, and thank you so much. Alright, also want to thank FreeER. We're going to be using a script of his for our pointer, and this will be the print offset script that we use in Cheat Engine. Let me get over here to it. When you click on this, you'll have print offsets, and I'm going to make that available for download to you, and I'm just going to show you right quick how to install it. You go to the download link that I'll have for you, and all credit goes to FreeER. He wrote this script, and what you want to do is go over to your program files and go over to your Cheat Engine folder. Now I'm still using Cheat Engine 6.7 right now, but it's done the same way. You download that file and you'll go to your auto run folder in the Cheat Engine folder. Then go to auto run, double click on it, and just put it right here, and you'll see print offsets.lua. And we want to thank FreeER for writing the script. It has come in handy. It saves you a bunch of work, and I love it. So thank you so much for this. Once you put it in there, close Cheat Engine back down, bring it back up, and then you'll have this option available of print offsets, and we're going to be using this that you'll see in a few minutes. So thank you, pal, and I want to give him all the credit for that. Okay, I went ahead and what I did is turn the volume down a little bit, and I've already got my chamber ammo pointer, and it points to our current ammo value. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this pointer to find our other values, our cap value, and we're also going to find our rapid fire value, and I'm going to use both of those in the LUA script. So let's go ahead and attach this to the game to bring up our pointer address, and you can see it right here, and it is a bigger address than a regular 4-byte address, so we need to grab our calculator because I do not think in hex and I need a little help. But let's go ahead and test it out right quick, just to make sure. And we can see down in the lower left hand corner the current ammo and the cap. So let's go ahead and fire it off, and you can see our pointer is holding it, writing the value back. And when we just hold down the left key, it automatically shoots. So good. So we're good. Alright, and what I want to show you also about this is while we use the pointers, when I find out what accesses the address, it'll bring up everything that's actually reading from this address and also writing to the address. It just shows everything, and I just want to show you why we decided to go with pointers. Alright, so if you take a look here, we got what's accessing it, we have what's writing to it right here. And I'm just going to go to what's writing to it, but you'll notice it does the same with this one as well. And you come across games like, matter of fact, there it is right there. Excuse me. And you'll notice this in a lot of games, like flash games, things like that, is it's going through just about every single value. It's going through one opcode, and look, it's still filling up. I mean, there's just really no way to compare out one specific address just out of this. And you're probably going to have health going through here. You're going to have other attribute values that you need going through here. It's not really the best way to go. Back tracing the value to a source, also a major hassle. Sometimes the pointer is the best way to go, so that's what we're going to use. But we can get the pointer to do exactly what we need it to do. Maybe not as clean as writing a script would be in assembly, but it doesn't matter. Pointers will work. If you find a stable one, use it. Who cares? So let's get back to it, and what I want to do is browse this memory region, and if you remember what our cap was, if you look over here, our cap is 20. So I'm going to look around current ammo, and this is doing this basically the same thing that we would do in dissect data. When we browse the memory region, what you want to do is come over here, I've already set it there, change display type, and first off I'm setting it on 4-byte decimal, and it shows me all the decimal values in base 10. And let's take a look. And what we're kind of looking around here for, this is our current ammo value right here, and we're looking for 20. If you look right up here, which is actually right beside it roughly, we see a 20. Could this possibly be our cap value? Well, we don't know. Let's test it. There's also a 20 down here, so we don't know. Let's test it. We'll test out both of them if this one don't work. And take a look at our cap. It went to 99, so that looks to be our cap value. So let's go back to that. I'm going to set it back to what it originally was, and I want to add that address to the current list. Let's just write down ammo cap. And we want to use our pointer and we want to have a pointer that goes to that cap automatically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and now I'm going to mash Control V to paste, and I have 2 copies of the same pointer. They're the same exact. And what I want to do is I want to change this one to be pointing to our cap value instead of our current. So the way to do that is we need to, we know that this address was ahead of the other one, so we want to take the bigger address and subtract the smaller address to get the distance between the 2 addresses. So we see our chamber ammo ends in EC and our ammo cap ends in C8. So let's bring up our handy calculator because I suck at doing math and hex in my head. So we're going to go EC minus C8, and the distance is 24 bytes. So what we want to do is we want to come here, and we know that the ammo address is minus 24 bytes, and that'll take us to the lower address, which is our ammo cap. And if we take a look over here, we can see what the actual offset is. It's 448, so we can actually change that to 448 and just name it, and now we got our ammo cap, and it'll always find that ammo cap, so we can get rid of this address. So good, we got a little bit done there, and now I want to get my rapid fire. We see how fast she shoots like this. Let me bring that back up to 20 before I have to reload. So let's see if we can look around, and what I want to do is I want to go back to browse memory region, bring that back up. Now if you remember, we put this on 4 byte. We want to change it to float because you're going to usually find these in float. And this kind of goes along with the other finding rapid fire, where I told you to look for a value that counts up and then goes back to 0 when you stop firing, usually using an automatic weapon. That does work a lot of the times too. However, things like handguns that only fire off 1 round at a time, or real slow values, a lot of times those are going to be constant, and you just got to kind of look around. Let me get back to kind of hit off of it. I want to highlight that, and I want to kind of look around here and look for values that would make sense that could possibly be maybe a rapid fire. And once you play around with these values. I look for decimal type values of 1s, just regular float 1s. But if you come over here, I noticed this one also when I was playing around with these values, and I got to this one. So it's a 0.25 normally, and what I normally do is I could set it to 0 or to a -1, and then when I went back to the game, take a look. Rapid fire. So that is definitely in control of our fire rate. That's what it's called, a fire rate. So I want to add that to the list, and I'm going to set it back to its normal value, 0.25. Sorry, I have the decimal as a pause button, so let me unpause it. There we go. And we're just going to label this the fire rate. And you see it's a constant, so there was nothing counting up. So look for constants also. Sometimes you won't find it the other way that I showed. Sometimes you got to look for it this way. It'll either be a constant value. You can also look for values that are counting up, and sometimes you can find either one and it'll work. But just kind of play around with constant values, and it's just trial and error is all it is. There's no real way to do it unless you have access to the game script itself. So alright, so let's take a look, and we see that this address is bigger than our chamber ammo. So we want to take the bigger address, and we see here what's the difference, 1B0 and 0EC. So we want to subtract EC from 1B0. So let's do that, and we're going to copy this again, and we're going to just use our standard chamber ammo to find this address now. So let's zero this out, and we go 1B0 minus EC. What's the distance between those two? and that would be C4, which is a decimal 196. Okay, so C4. All right. So we know that the fire rate was the bigger address, so we have to add that many bytes to the chamber ammo. So we bring that up here and we put plus C4. And let's put it on float. And you see 0.25. And the real offset would be 530. 530. And now we have our fire rate, which is our, we change it to a -1, that gives us a rapid fire type thing. So now that we have all three pointers, and all of them are different, they're stemmed from the same base pointer of the current ammo, the chamber ammo. Okay, so you saw how we do that, and we do this all the time with injection copies, and that's how you do it. You need to find the distance. Is it plus or minus? And you can just use one specific, I'm sorry, I don't know why that happened, but you can use just one specific pointer or injection copy, and you can get all your other addresses as long as they're in the same structure. They have to be in the same structure. Okay, and we can just keep going. We can find attack value, and I believe attack value is in here too. I just forgot which one it was, and I have all that already, but I'm just not going to do that right now. But what we want to do is write a script where we can write this cat value all the time, and I'm going to change that to like 10 so we can see it working. We want our cat to always write to our current, and we want to be able to use that same script to change that to a -1, and when we turn it off, change this back to 0.25 or whatever it happens to be, and we want this to start counting down again. So that's the goal with our LUA script. I'll be right back and we'll get started. And thank you guys for holding, and like I said, I do want to apologize if the game is kind of blending in with my voice some. I apologize about that. You're just gonna have to bear with me on that, and I hope you can overlook it. And I apologize that happens. It's just the software I use, and I'm gonna have to find a better one eventually, but for right now, Camtasia serves my purposes because it's real quick and easy, and I can get this done. Alright, so right now we're going to go ahead and start our LUA script. So what I want to do is bring up the auto assemble script. And we do not need this anymore. We have all the information we need right now. And right off the bat, first thing I want to do is tell Cheat Engine we're going to be using LUA. This whole script is going to be just using LUA, and we want to put our enable and disable. So I'm going to do that. And just down here a little bit, and we're just going to put disable. And we're just doing it from scratch. And I will put a template to the timer. I do have the template also on the other vid I made about LUA auto writing, and I'll hook that up in the upper right hand corner for you, just to kind of help you out, because I know it a lot of times, and I tell you this often, is try to use like Notepad++ and save a bunch of LUA scripts that you know you're probably going to be using a lot, and just save them. You got to write it from scratch. But for learning purposes, I recommend that you write them from scratch over and over and over again until you get comfortable, understand what they're doing, and then you can start copying and pasting. But for right now, I want you, all of you that's going to use this, to write it out yourself. Learn it, write it out yourself. Okay, and experiment with it, have fun with it. Alright, so what we want to do first of all is we do need to create a timer. We want it to constantly be reading this value and writing it to this value. We don't want to do it one time. We need it constantly doing, because the game is constantly writing the value to that location, as you saw up there. It's constantly reading it and it's constantly writing it, and we need to override that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable. We can call it anything we want. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it T_ammo, because everything that we're using stems off our ammo pointer, and that's just because that's the way I want to do it. And the T stands for timer. Okay, and we're going to put is equal to createTimer, just like that, and with the parentheses. Okay, And every time Cheat Engine sees this name from here on out, it's going to associate, okay, he's talking about the timer now with this name. Okay, so that's what we're doing. First thing we need to do, there's two things you need to do. You need to tell Cheat Engine how fast you want that timer to go and what you want to be on that timer. What's that timer supposed to be controlling? So that's two things you got to remember. We need to set a variable name, number one. Second thing we need to do, tell Cheat Engine how fast we want it to go. So let's do that. We need our timer, which is now called TMO dot, and the command for it is set interval. Okay, and if you put 1000 equals 1 second. So anything less than that, that's a tenth of a second, a hundredth of a second, thousandth of a second. Okay, so, and I'm going to put it at a hundredth of a second. Okay, so I'm going to try to make it right as quick as the game is writing, at least. So it'll keep overriding it and putting it back to 20. So that way, and yeah, I know that using a pointer, that Cheat Engine and the game are both going to be writing to it at the same time. It doesn't really matter. Okay, it's not going to slow your performance down or anything like that. Not enough to tell anyway. So, and that's what we do, and that's the best route to go. Alright, so now we've created our timer. We've told Cheat Engine how fast we want that timer to count. Now we need to put something on that timer. Okay, so what we do is we tell Cheat Engine we're going to use that timer, TMO, and we need to tell it on timer. Okay, this is what we want to put on the timer. We want it to be a function. Okay, we want to set a function on there. We're going to set a bunch of different functions on here. Well, actually, it's just one function, but we're going to set a lot of things to that function. Okay, first thing I need it to do in that function is I need it to read my cat value. So we need to make another variable. Okay, we need to make another variable. So we're just going to call this ammo underscore cap. That way we know what this is doing. And here's the command. We need it to equal, and we need it to read, and make sure that you get this part right. If it is a 4 byte, that will be an integer, whole number. If it is a float, you need to put float. Floats can be decimal based. Okay, whole numbers are integers. That means it cannot have a decimal in it, decimal place in it. It's only a whole number, an integer, and a float value is a decimal place. Okay, that's the difference. So we need it to write an integer, since this is a 4 byte value. An integer, and we need to set it up like we did last time. And like I say, go take a look at that last vid, and I explained all this. Remember, we put the parentheses, and then we need to put 2 apostrophes. Kind of looks like a little face without a mouth. And this is where we're going to put our information. So we right click on it, and we're going to use free ER script to print offsets that I have the link for in the description. Go download it. And we're going to use this bottom one right here. We need it in this structure right here. This is what you're going to use in your Lua. We're going to copy that. Okay? And this is our cap that we just made. So just paste it in there. And it'll always put a space after it, so you need to take that space out. Okay? Make sure to take the space out so they're all together. Okay? So what we're doing is we're naming this, and this is what this name is doing. It's reading the value of that pointer. Whatever that value is, and right now that value is 20. That's what the brackets mean. Is we want the value of that, the pointed address. Okay. All right. So now we need it to write to our chamber ammo, to this pointer. Okay. We need it to write to here, so it's not being 10 and still counting down. It's just always going to be 20. So right off the bat, we don't need to name it a variable. We can if we want to, but we don't need to. And what I'm going to do is have it writeInteger. Okay. We also want to do the same thing. Put our little face without a mouth on there, and we're going to copy our chamber ammo pointer. Oops. Let me do that again. There we go. I think I mashed Control V there. So let's go ahead and paste that and take out the space that it always puts there for some unknown reason. Alright, and if we leave it like that, it's not going to write anything to it. We haven't told it what to write to it yet. Now if you remember in the past, we just put the number itself. We want it to write 99, we put write 99 there. If I turn this on, it's just going to write 99 to that pointer. But we don't want it to write that. We want it to write this value. And what did we name that value? We named it ammo cap. So we want you to write the ammo cap to that right here. And at the end of every function, you got to put end. Okay? And we are going to get to our rapid fire. Just bear with me, okay? Well, right now we're just going to test this, and then we just kind of build onto it from there, okay? Alright, now when we disable it, we need the timer to stop. We need it to stop doing what it's doing, and we need it just to do like normal. Let Cheat Engine have sole control over it again, or the game have sole control over it again, I mean. And the easy way to do that is just copy down your variable name. Alright? And then we just need to give it a command, and we're just going to say destroy with parentheses. Destroy the timer. Okay? And since it's constantly writing the ammo cap to it anyway, it's just going to continue doing that, and when we turn it off, it'll just start counting down from 20. That's what we're looking for right now, and we're going to test that out. Okay? So assign that to the current cheat table. We're going to name it infinite ammo test. I'm going to put LUA just to remind me that this is a LUA script I'm testing. And when we turn this on, we want to see that turn to 20. And take a look. It's writing our ammo cap, so let's go test it in the game. And remember, we do not have that ticked on anymore. We just have our script running, so let's make sure it does it. And take a look. No fluctuations, hardly whatsoever, just a little bit, because it's writing faster. It's writing faster to it than the game is, so that's good. Alright. Very good. Now we want to use our rapid fire, and we're going to use that. So we need to turn off our LUA script, and we want to test that too. I want to go ahead and test that too and make sure it's not continuously writing 20. It should be going down now. And take a look, it is. So it turned off successfully. That is a good script. Okay, so now we're going to do our rapid fire. Now this is where it gets a little different. First off, we want to copy our rapid fire down with our print offset script. Let's copy that pointer down, and we're going to go back to our LUA. Now what I need it to do is I need it to remember this value. This is the original value, the 0.25. I need it to remember that, because when I turn it off and disable, it needs to write that value back. Okay, because I'm going to change that value in this LUA script also, but I need to hold the original value somewhere in memory. To do that, we cannot put it in this function, because this function is hooked to this timer. So anything in that function is going to constantly be writing. So if I change it here, it's going to change it, and I won't have the original value anymore. Okay, so I need to put it above it in its own particular area by itself. Alright, so what we're going to do is just right above it, we're going to name it a variable, and we're just going to call it, I'm just going to abbreviate original fire. And normally I wouldn't name it this big, but I'm doing this for tutorial purposes, and basically I'm just naming it original fire rate. Okay, but you name it whatever you want to. You can just name it OFR if you want to, original fire rate, but I'm going to do it for tutorial purposes so we can all see it. Original fire rate, and that's equal, and we want to use, now remember, this is a float value, not an integer, so we need it to read float this time. Okay, we want to put in our parentheses, our little face in there, and I just screwed it up. Let's try that one more time. There we go, our little face in there without a mouth. There we go. And we want to paste in the fire rate. Make sure no space is in between here. If it looks like that, just back it up and make it look like this. So now it's not hooked to this function, so it's not going to be constantly. It's just going to do it one time and hold that value at this with this name. Okay, so now we can come down here and we can put writeFloat. Make sure I spell things right. Same way. And we're just going to change this manually. Go after the apostrophe and put your comma. And we want to change that to a -1. A -1 float. So it's going to put it in its float form. Okay. But we want to change it back to its original value. So what we have to do is we're just going to take this right here. And right underneath, after we destroy our timer, we want it to writeFloat to that address with a comma. And what do we want it to write there? What it originally stored for us. The original fire rate. Or you name it whatever you want to. And it will write the 0.25 back. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you understand what's going on here? We put this so it's constantly writing -1. We put it above, so when we first turn the script on, it's going to run this first. It's going to, okay, I need to read a float and remember it. That's 0.25. I'll hold it right here at this name. Then it does our other stuff. When it gets to this fire rate, okay, now he wants it, he's put the fire rate in this function, which is on a timer, so he wants me to constantly write -1 to this pointer. So that's what I'll do. Okay, now he's turned it off, so I need to destroy this timer. So that means I need to stop doing everything that's associated with this timer. And what else does he want me to do? Oh, he wants me to write something back to the fire rate value. What does he want me to write to it? He wants me to write the original fire rate. Well, I remember that being 0.25. So, okay, I'll write 0.25 back to it. Okay, that's basically what it's doing. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and we're going to go test it. So when I turn this on, I want to see that turn to -1. I want to see that turn to a 20. Take a look. When I turn that off, that should stay at 20 because we're not firing right now. It'll just count down from 20. But I want to see that turn back. Excuse me. I want to see that turn back to a 0.25. Will it do it? And take a look. When I turn it off, 0.25. So now we have a script, a LUA script, that writes our cap value, writes to our rapid fire, so we can have rapid fire when we turn this on, and it goes back to normal after. So let's test it. All right. Take a look. Rapid fire. Now I want it to go back to normal. I want it to go back to normal. We'll take a look. Now we're back to normal. No rapid fire. And that's how you do it, fellas. And like I say, we're just adding on to past lessons and just putting a little more in there, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And we're going to learn more and more and other things we can do. But, you know, we just need to get our feet wet and just go a little bit at a time. Okay, so I hope this helped you. And like I say, I'm going to leave the template for this particular one down in the description, but don't use the pointers or anything. I'm not going to really hook the pointers to it, but I'm going to leave this information, the whole thing, down in the description. Just go change it out or whatever you need to do, but you can see how it flows. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. And go back and rewatch the video and everything, and just make you a little notepad with just the basics of it. Okay, I want to thank all of you guys for coming out and supporting Cheat the Game. I want to continue to thank my partners and donators. Thank you guys so much. You keep Cheat the Game going. If you would like to come join us, come over to our Facebook page, our Discord, or also our website. We're still trying to get the website up and running, and we just need to get people over there, and we just kind of add on to it as we go. So, come join us over there. I have all the links for that down in the description. Also, if this helped you out, please place a like on it. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. We got a lot more content coming out for you, and we're just going to keep building on. And remember, everything we come out with, we're just building off stuff we've already covered in the past and everything. And sometimes I'll recover something I may have went over in the past because I may have found a better way to do it, or an easier way, or a different way. So, I want to show you every single possible way I can I can learn. Okay, and just to give you so many different options that you can try, because every game is different, everything is different, and sometimes certain techniques that work great for one game may not work for the next game that you try. So it's good to know different ways of doing things. Okay, but all we care about is the finished result. It don't matter how you get there, as long as it's doing what you want to. To me, that is a successful hack. All right, and you guys keep on learning, you keep coming back. We'll have more content for you later. Thank you all so much for your support. I love each and every one of you. All right, well, you guys take care. You keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about, and remember that. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now.